All right, click, and you add a title. This is the first thing that appears when you go into PowerPoint and you select new. It comes up, gives you something like this. There's a variety of ways that you can insert additional slides. You can ask those slides to look a lot like the ones you see that comes with a place for titles and a place for text already. I generally don't use it that way. I generally go up and I say, give me a blank, and I conform it to the design that I'm using, and I make it the way I want it to be, because this kind of assumes that you want to write a letter, and we're not writing a letter to our students. We're trying to present concepts and ideas, and so don't just follow the format that they give you at the beginning. So select new, under file, bring it down, you've got something to start with. Okay, so we went up there, we got our new file and came down, and as you can see, right over here, it's blank. I picked blank, but there are other things that and you should play with them. You should experiment with them. I've kind of gotten to a point in my life where I like starting with blank. But you may find that what you're doing, that some of these other pre-designed setups work pretty well for you. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with using those, but you do have to make a conscious decision as which is the best for your purposes. Okay, once you've got your slides on board, you can see off to one side that you've got a series of slides. You can view them just like we did in view, except they're nicely stacked so that you can see each of them. In this case, well, there's nothing on them, but that's okay, because there's a basic structure to every presentation, and that's why you can start with 3 to 5 blanks and embroider that. And I'm going to show you how to approach that. And again, what do you want to teach? Keep that in mind. Don't accept what I'm doing. All right, here's the basic structure of a presentation. This is what I ask my students to do in their communications classes and in their advanced oral classes, is put together something that has at least 5 slides, and actually not too much more than 5 slides if you don't want to overwhelm the students. Yes, I'm using more than 5 slides today because I have an exceptional set of students that I'm teaching, and you're able to handle a lot more material than the average student can deal with. But this is a good place to start. And you always want to have an introduction. Just like in writing, you want to have something that supports that topic content, that supports basically what you presented in the beginning, and then you want to have a conclusion. So tell them what you want to tell them, and then come back and tell them what you told them. For most students, that will get you fairly far down the line to embedding things in their mind. Okay, this is what you need to do right now, is brainstorm your topic. Whatever you grab, whatever you're teaching next week, or some big presentation that you have coming up, pull that down and let's brainstorm it a little bit and find what's a way to look at it that is interesting. Don't just relate the directory of the book. Don't just, lay out the table of contents. Come up with an interesting angle. Generally, I like my introductions to have a little bit of provocation or a little bit of something that is different than perhaps the students are expecting. And you can find those things if you do the brainstorming. This is also where, depending on the size of your class, you can break into teams. I generally like 3 to 5 people on a team. That seems to lend itself to thinking about things. And you can bounce things off one another and come up with an idea that fits what you want to present. A lot of you are English teachers, some of you are other, but pick a topic that relates to your own needs.
Okay, here we are. Time to make a video. This is where we we have made a beautiful presentation. We have turned that presentation into a narrated, automated set of slides. And now we're going to see that it's incredibly easy to turn that into an actual video that you can put out there on YouTube, that you can supply to your students, or that you can just use to critique yourself. Okay, let's. All right, when we want to save, we go to File. And we know from our earlier discussions that in File, you're able to save a PowerPoint, but you're also able to export. And when you export, you're able to export as a PDF, which is just kind of a flat screened version of your presentation, or you're able to export as a film. And that's what we're going to be doing now. Okay, so we go to Create Video. And again, to create video, I don't know why they set it up quite that way, but that's the way it is. We click our button and we give it an appropriate name, and we're going to save it. And try to have appropriate folders set up on your machine or in your drives so that you don't get too confused. Because if you're like me, I usually have several different projects going at a time, and if I try to work on all of them simultaneously, well, it doesn't end well. I'm not a multitasker. What I am is a sequential tasker, and a sequential tasker is able to focus on one thing at a time, and to do that, you create separate folders so that you're only looking at a piece of your problem at a time. So we're going to save this. And now we're ready for the next phase of our action, which is to go to a video editor. And I tend to use the Windows video editor. It's part of Photos. It's pretty easy to get at, and it's pretty easy to use. So let's take a look at the editor. First, you go down to Windows, the Windows icon that should be down at the bottom of your screen, unless you're one of those people that's using Macintosh. But even then, if you've got Windows running on your Macintosh, you're going to see that window. So we open the window. And I've got all kinds of pictures from different projects, from different courses. So we're into Photos, but we want to go up here, you see Video Editor. So we're going to go to Video Editor and select Video Editor. And when that happens, you will get a prompt for a new video project. So you want to give this a logical name, something that fits into the scheme of what you're trying to do. Okay, so we've given it a nice name. Well, new project name. You're going to give it a nice name. And then we're going to reach out. Once we're into it, our work area looks like what you see behind. And that is over on the side, you've got your project library where you can reach out and you can add pictures, you can add videos, you can have all the pieces that you need to accomplish your project. And down at the bottom, you have a storyboard. And you just put your pieces in place along the storyboard, and you will be able to see what you're doing. All your storyboard can be played on the screen on the right-hand side. Okay, you can also select background music. I usually wait until I've got everything in place. It's looking the way I want it, and then I select background music. What you have to be kind of careful of with background music is it doesn't seem to allow you to add it to one thing at a time. It adds it to the whole business. So basically, if you're going to use music in your introduction, you should set up your introduction, you should save it with the music, and then put it back on, and it'll have music, but that music won't simply continue on for the rest of your presentation. Okay, you're going to finish your video and save it. And when you save it, it's going to save it as another MP4 file, but it's going to be more compact than the pieces. This is one of those cases where you bring it all together and the finished result is going to be a lot cleaner than the pieces that you bring in. So, you can do this. I want you to go now and just open up your project, open up your version of a 5-slide project, and work through the steps that we have just discussed.